What's up, guys? Welcome to the final day of Form Check week. As of the end of this video, we're up to January 3rd. Believe it or not, we are making our way through this stuff. Mission accomplished in terms of trying to wade our way through all these video submissions this week. We're getting there, I promise you. Like I said earlier this week, we're probably gonna have to find a way to change up how we're receiving and how we're selecting submissions for these videos, but for right now, we're just gonna keep trucking in chronological order and try to make sure everybody gets their chance. Just a quick shameless promo. If you guys are interested in getting a badass hoodie like this, these are American Apparel zip-ups. We have them for sale, calgarybarbell.com, as well as some new shirt and hat designs. We brought on a new online coach, so if you guys are interested in online coaching with Calgary Barbell, check it out on there. As well, we have a form check service if you guys are interested in a more in-depth form check that you don't have to wait a year for. Getting into our video submissions for today, we have our first submission from George, and George is doing some squats. George is 17 years old. Let me preface this by saying we left off with Matt last video, 18-year-old lifter. Today we're starting with a 17-year-old lifter, and this stuff seeing guys getting into lifting at this age just makes me so damn happy. I can't help but think how much stronger I would be if I didn't start lifting when I was 25, 26, 24. Anyways, not about me. Yes, this is awesome, and we'll get right to it. So, George, the biggest thing I'm seeing here is you're kind of doing something a little bit weird with your hands. They're very cocked back. I think for the sake of getting your elbows very close to your body. I think over time, as you put on more muscle and as you get bigger and stronger, I think you're gonna wanna probably start to play with your grip a little bit. I've never ever found it comfortable to be cocked back in my wrists like that. I find it puts a lot of stress on my elbows. It creates more of a tendency to rest the weight of the bar in your hands as opposed to on your back. So I would start playing with alternate grips. So a couple different things I would maybe play with a little bit wider. I would maybe try a thumbs over grip. If you watch any video of me squatting, that's how I always squat. Except for the one day where I tried to take this whole squat like Semenenko thing just a little bit too far. And I didn't find that I had good control like that. But that's just me. I would try working a little bit wider, try working thumbless, and see if you can get into the habit of pulling the bar into your back, making sure it's not resting on your hands. Hopefully that goes a long ways for you. Just a tiny thing. Your squat itself looks really good, buddy. Keep it up. So this being the last video of our form check week, it kind of worked out that we have a couple of really cool submissions from people who have submitted before, made the changes suggested in these videos, and had huge success with that. So the first one of those I want to talk about is Nick. Now here's Nick struggling to walk out 315. As you can see, gets pretty shifty towards the top. And you know, there are some obvious issues there. Struggle 315 on the bar. Now, Nick emailed me just, I guess not just recently, but more recently. This was December 31st. So from September to December, he now has 407 on the bar here. Still a little bit janky at lockout, but way more weight on the bar, way smoother, doing a better job of locking his lats in. A lot of really, really good things happening here. Now, somebody was very kind in the comments recently and said that they really liked the fact that I don't try to overhaul and completely change a lifter's style, but rather try to push them in a direction of changing things slightly to become just a little bit more efficient. And that's something I'm really big on. Not everybody's going to lift the same. There is no dogmatic sort of, this is the one right way to lift and everybody needs to lift like that. It's all very, very personal and very individual. So we're not maybe going to see people go from, okay, struggling with lockout to now, oh, this is a perfect deadlift. But to see this amount of improvement in such a short time frame makes me super, super happy. And I'm just really glad to be a part of this and glad that this is actually having a very pronounced impact on people, as you can see. So shout outs to you, Nick. Thank you so much for taking my advice to heart, and I'm really, really glad that it helped you, man. Now our next few videos come from Seth. Seth's been on the channel, I think, twice now. He's usually a single ply lifter. I believe he's in sort of a collegiate age, so maybe early 20s, kind of a junior lifter. But Seth submitted his videos for critique, and honestly, I just want to showcase them because he's submitted a couple of videos, we've given him a couple critiques, and he's come a long, long ways. Another young guy, super exciting. So his squat here, you can just see everything works, everything is efficient. He's not getting pulled forward, his weight's not shifting, the bar's in a good spot, everything's good. His bench press, he's doing a really, really good job of keeping his back tight throughout the press. There's a little bit of a shift as he goes to press, but efficiency is huge there. You can see that he's getting his elbows back out under the bar path is good, bar path is consistent, and his deadlift, he's adopted the sort of top-down style of setup, potentially on one of my suggestions. I'm not really sure, but the deadlift looks great. As you can see, there's a little bit of a shift between him getting his hands on the bar and the bar starting to come off the floor, but you watch Krzysztof Wierzbicki, same thing happens there. So I don't think that's any sort of fault that needs to be worried about, but just again to really showcase the fact that these videos help people, and I'm really glad they do. And it's pretty cool to come to the end of a week of this stuff. It has been hard work. It's been a lot to try to put together all this content for you guys, but I'm super glad we did it. And I'm really glad we had this idea to do Form Check Friday, and we've run with it, and I'm super, super happy with how well it's been received. So thank you to everybody. We're gonna finish this off with 2 more submissions. Our next one, we're gonna go with some deadlifts from a guy named Manu. Now, Manu on his deadlift, we're A, not pulling the slack out, and B, we're almost sitting down a little bit too far in a number of these reps. What I want you to do is I want you to start filming your deadlifts from the side, and I want you to look at the angle of your shin. If the angle of your shin is too far out over the bar, if the bar's here and your knee's way out in front of it, then I want you to try to shift your weight back on your heels a little bit. Just kind of pivot the ankles and pull yourself back behind the bar just a little bit more. In terms of pulling the slack out of the bar, I want you to pull yourself down to position. Don't just sit your butt down until you're in what you think is a good position. But as you grab the bar, pull your shoulders back, engage your lats hard and tight, and pull your hips down until you feel tension start to build up in your hamstrings, your glutes, in your quads, in your back, and everything feels super, super tight. If you're lucky and the weight's light enough and you're doing it right, the bar's actually gonna levitate, kind of pop off the floor without even trying. So that's a good indication that you're in a good spot. Manu, your squat, similar thing here, we're just a little bit too far forward. You're really initiating by pushing your knees forward, and we can see that your back angle is staying pretty much straight up and down until the bottom. We're getting a little bit of a shift. But I want you to keep that weight a little more on your heels. I want you to not be afraid of pushing your butt back and kind of sitting back into the squat just a little bit more to try to keep a little bit more of a balanced position between forefoot and heel. Now I talk a lot about the feet because I think that if you can feel where the weight is on your feet, that's gonna translate to a lot of different things happening all the way up the chain. So try and get that weight a little bit more on your heels. Don't be afraid to push your butt back. Get a little bit of a lean going on. Embrace the lean, if you will. And let's see where that squat takes you. Now our last video today comes from Tommy. Tommy's doing some conventional deadlifts here. We got some pretty common and recognizable things going wrong here. So the low back, struggling to find a good position, especially as we initiate off the floor. A couple things we can try with conventional is widen the stance, push the knees out a little bit. It looks like on a couple of these reps you're getting very, very close to a good neutral back position. One other thing might just be working on it and continuing to practice and continuing to push for better positioning. I'm really glad when I see people that are almost there, still submitting videos, still open to criticism, and still trying to become better, more efficient, safer lifters. So just keep working on it, Tommy. Try and push those knees out a little bit. Try and get that back a little tiny bit flatter. And if all else fails, like I suggested to, I can't remember the name, but I suggested earlier this week, try out some sumo. Oftentimes when people open the hips up like that, they're able to get a nice flat back position. And if you can learn that and learn what it feels like, learn the awareness to create that position at will, you can take that, translate it to your conventional deadlift, and be able to come out of that with a much better back position. Anyways, guys, that wraps up Form Check Week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dylan, put some confetti on the screen. Party hats. Woo! Like the 10K subs video. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap this thing up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for your submissions. CalgaryBarbell2@gmail.com. We're up to January 3rd. You want swag, coaching, form checks, CalgaryBarbell.com. We'll see you guys next time.